Wallaby squad and the fixtures for the Rugby Championship 2022, folks. We'll go over them pretty quickly. The squad is not too changed from the side that played England in the July test, but there are a few names in and a few names out. I don't think I've missed anyone, but do let me know if I have, because the Aussies have had a fair few injuries in their series against the English, and then the fixtures as well. Hookers are unchanged with Fainga'a, Lonergan and Poreki. Kind of came into that England series uncapped, but seems to be the favoured guy by Dave Rennie at the moment. Then Fainga'a adding a bit of punch off the bench. Alaalatoa, Fa'amasili, Gibbon, Sio and Slipper plus Tupou are the props. So Matt Gibbon is an addition here. You'll notice one of the names off the board is Gus Bell, who's got a toe injury, which is going to keep him out of the lineup. Fa'amasili has been in the Wallabies squad a couple of times now, but still remains uncapped. So it'd be nice to see him get a cap, but he's got to get past either Tupou or Alaalatoa at this point. Remember, Alaalatoa did miss one game against England, but Dave Rennie preferred to play slips at tight head rather than putting Fa'amasili into the lineup. But he also has a few niggling injuries as well. But either way, congratulations to Matt Gibbon for that one. Locks, Arnold, Frost, Holloway, Phillip and Swain. Rory Arnold is obviously the big, when I say big, he's a big human. He's the big addition to the side. Remember, they're missing Caden Neville, who's out with, what was his injuries? It was knee. So, they need to add a bit of experience there. And they're kind of freed up with Samu Kerevi also not going to be in the squad for this one. We'll get to the backs in a second, but that essentially frees up Dave Rennie to pick another one of the overseas guys. I think they're limited to kind of 3 at the moment. So with Kerevi not filling one of those spots, you're able to bring back that experience of Rory Arnold. So, I'll be keen to see who among the Aussie locks gets the starting job, because obviously with the injuries, it's been a bit of a game of musical chairs. Back rowers, Hooper, Leota, McCright, Samu, Valtini and Wilson. The recall of Fraser McCright, who, if you watched any of the Aussie A games in the Pacific Nations Cup, that guy was genuinely on a higher level than most of the guys around him when he was playing. He was phenomenal, getting through his tackles, getting through a bunch of runs and whatnot, just very, very busy. It kind of sucks that he plays the same position as the captain, who's got 100 plus caps. So, I don't know, what are you supposed to do? Do you give that guy a game? Do you chuck him on the bench, or do you give Hoops a rest every now and again, because he tends to play pretty much 80 minutes every game the Wallabies play? So, either way, it's a earned call-up, I think, and it's just whether he actually manages to get any game time. I don't think any of the Lucies are out injured from the initial squad that was named for July, but do let me know if I've forgotten anyone. Backs-wise, there's also a few changes. Halfback still the same, Gordon, McDermott and White. And then Cooper is still named in the squad alongside Lolasio and James O'Connor. Remember, James O'Connor was kind of dropped for the last game against England, but that was form-based rather than injury. He did miss a lot of Super Rugby with injury and just looked rusty in the couple of times he came on in the first 2 games against England. Cooper missed the entire series against England with a calf injury, I think it was, but he's still good to go for this one. He's recovered, or at least his recovery is planned to be on time. So, that'll be a fascinating one where the Lolasio keeps on, because he was in really good form. It'd be kind of a pity if you take him out of the game and he loses that good groove that he's in, because I thought he was pulling the strings for the Wallabies pretty well. But then the old argument is, if you're going to pick one of these overseas guys, you'd be nuts not to play them, right? Midfielders, Foketi, Ikitau, Paisami and Simone. So that's the one area where you've genuinely got, I don't want to say wholesale changes, but decent changes, right? Because Kerevi is going to the Commonwealth Games to play the sevens. So his spot is freed up. Simone is off to France at basically, I think next season, isn't it? French season, which is starting in not too long. He's got a couple of Wallabies caps. Was it 21 or 2020? So it's been a while. He kind of made his way into the Wallabies setup, but then kind of as soon as he got in, he kind of quickly fell out. So, and then Foketi's been playing with Aussie A. So the midfield is a genuine question. I mean, maybe they go with the kind of reliable or featured before Paisami and Ikitau, but that's kind of a question mark that we'll have to wait and see. And then outside backs, Koroibete, Pataya, Vunivalu, right, Jock, Campbell, and then Reece Hodge. So Jock Campbell is one of the additions who was also playing pretty well with the Aussie A boys. Remember with Tom Banks getting injured, Andrew Callaway getting injured, and then Pataya was injured for a wee while as well. They've had a bit of again musical chairs with that fullback jersey. Hodge had to go in the last game. Looked a little bit rusty. He looked better at Aussie A level, which is not an insult to him, but yeah, it's a different beast, isn't it? So yeah, we'll see how Jock Campbell goes if he manages to get a spot. 27 years old, so if he's going to get his time in the Aussie jersey, it is time to get it soon. Other guys who were maybe potentially in the conversation, Rodder, Johnson Holmes, and then Hannigan, all currently injured, so not really available for selection. And fixtures-wise, you're starting with a couple of away games over in Argentina against Michael Cheika's boys, so that's going to be a fascinating series in itself, just with the Wallabies connection with Coach Cheika for the Pumas. And then 2 home games against the Springboks, after a little bit of a gap between the 2 series, obviously, and then home and then away to the All Blacks. Well, I was hoping to do the All Blacks video first because their squad was supposed to be named on Wednesday, but we're still waiting on that one, I think, today. But, yeah, I still think, despite all the guys out, Dave Rennie's still got a pretty decent lineup here, so they'll fancy themselves. And maybe with the All Blacks looking a little bit vulnerable, there's never been a more optimistic time for Aussie rugby to take on the Kiwis. But anyway, we'll see how these guys line up. Koroibete, once he gets back, will certainly be a welcome addition. That guy's world class. The midfield looks better when he's in it. I think the 10 jersey is looking a bit more secure with Lalasio's solid shifts that he put in. He was a little bit of a question mark after his games against the All Blacks in the past, but I think he showed us his class. Nick White, I think, is bossing the show at 9, so there's plenty to like. You got some good props. Happy days. We'll see how they go. You guys let me know your thoughts. Do you reckon this is a pretty good fixtures list? I mean, away to Argentina is probably better than having 2 games away in South Africa. But although Michael Cheika has got that inside knowledge, so we'll see. And then the away game at Eden Park will be an interesting one as well. But anyway, you guys let me know your thoughts on this Wallaby squad. Who do you reckon they're going to miss? Who are you most excited of the guys who have been added? And yeah, I'll talk to you guys again soon.